We have a phenomenal UFO sighting coming out of Cadiz, Colombia, captured by a woman named Abby around October 21st of 2025. This literally stopped people in the road, and no, it's not a reflection. And not to mention, everybody along the streets literally stopped, looked up, and saw this massive ship directly above them.
This has to be a Project Bluebeam test, right? That thing was huge. I know I haven't put a UFO sighting video on the channel in a long time, but that was easily the largest UFO I've ever seen caught on video. I can't imagine the feeling that those people on the streets were experiencing. If that was really something hovering over their head, it surely didn't have the appearance of something that you could easily run away from. But I'm thinking that had to have either been a Project Bluebeam test or a bunch of small drones all synced up together, making movement to make themselves look like a larger craft. I guess it would also be possible that it was a drone flying high overhead that was projecting some image through lights down onto low-lying clouds. But what do y'all think? It's just crazy to see something that out in the open like that. I'm surprised everyone wasn't panicking.
I got a huge 3-eye atlas update. You know that massive object or comet that's headed towards the Earth? Yeah, now it's sprouting tendrils. Yeah, tendrils, almost like arms reaching out of it. Except it's not real arms, that's just what it looks like. Cause as this thing gets closer, they're able to see it a little better. But there's also something else. Harvard scientist Avi Loeb just said, if you have plans for vacation or anything major in your life, it better be before October 29th. Yeah, that's what he said. I'm guessing because October 29th is the date that 3-Eyed Atlas should be closest to the Earth. There's also some more weird shenanigans going on with this thing, where its composition, what it's made of, isn't like anything else that astronomers or scientists have ever seen. So it's not like any other comet. That's why people think it could be something else entirely. Well, we got about 9 or 10 days till October 29th. So if something major does happen with this thing, we're gonna find out real soon.
This AI Atlas stuff is really ramping up. They were saying it wasn't going to get here until the end of November. Now I'm hearing reports that it's going to be here in 9 days. And I'm seeing video after video after video of people warning online that something bad is going to happen on the 30th. But I just want to remind everyone, at least 3 times a year, pretty much every year, we get warnings about some horrific event that's supposed to take place on a very specific date. And I would say there's been about a 99% failure rate on those predictions in the past. However, it's become pretty obvious at this point that there's way more to this story than the government wants to tell us. So this is certainly one we need to be keeping an eye on. Hey, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to drop your theories and your comments in the comment section down below.
You will not believe what is happening in the United Kingdom right now. And I'm not talking about this protest. Yeah, there's a big protest. People are saying no to digital ID. But quietly, many different banking institutions in the United Kingdom just added a particular feature onto their app. And you will be absolutely shocked because people called this, oh, no big deal, a few decades ago, and now what's happening. Check this out. As of today, a United Kingdom bank starts monitoring carbon footprint of what you buy. NatWest has updated their banking app, so it will now monitor your carbon footprint based upon what you purchase. This will soon be tagged to your digital ID, no doubt. So check this out. Fun and leisure, 244 kilograms of CO2 emissions. They're calculating your emissions. And right now it's just like a fun thing for people to track, like, how much did I emit? But eventually it will be, excuse me, you have reached your daily quota. And you don't want to emit any more carbon than this because then we will freeze your account or something. Now, I know it's right now this is happening all the way in the UK. It's not here yet, so everything's chill. But I can tell you, it all becomes first voluntary. Right now, they're launching digital ID throughout many different states. And right now, it is literally voluntary. But I can tell you, once 60, 70, 80% of people have voluntarily got the digital ID because there's some convenience or maybe there's a fee, like a discount you get if you have a digital ID. Eventually, once the percentage is high enough, it will become, hey, you have until this and this date to get a digital ID. This is the whole plan. It's a slow roll. We need to say no to this because otherwise we have some very unfortunate situations coming around in the future.
Man, this is getting hard to watch. These poor people did nothing wrong to deserve this other than just being born in the wrong place. The UK government is going to have so much control over its citizens, those people aren't even going to be able to eat their favorite foods anymore. They're not only going to control what they eat, but how often they get to eat. They're going to control who they're allowed to socialize with, everything. And don't forget about that video we watched a few weeks back with that guy from China talking about how things work over there. I'm sure once everybody's on digital ID over there, they're going to also roll out their own version of the social credit score. If they're trying to copy what China's doing, it's going to get so bad that they're not even going to be able to hang out with the people they want to hang out with because the government's decided they don't like them. They're tracking everybody's phones so they know who you're hanging out around. And even if you end up in the general vicinity of somebody that the government doesn't like, it's going to cause your social credit score to go down. And probably, at least at the start of things, the good citizens are going to end up getting a larger carbon allowance to go off of than all the people who are fighting back against the system. People are going to end up more divided than they've ever been before. And all of the division is the only reason they even have a hope of pulling this off. But the division is going to skyrocket. Depression is going to skyrocket. We've got to stop this.
In order to collaborate on a large scale, you need to convince everybody to believe in the same story. What really the engine of history is stories. And they don't even need to be true. Some of the most powerful stories in history were fictions.
Right.
But you need to get everybody, or at least a significant part of the population, to believe in the same story. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Science is not really, at least this is my view as a historian, science is not really about truth. It's about power. The real aim of science as a project, as an establishment, is not truth, it's power. Particular individuals, particular scientists may be very interested in the truth, personally. But as an institution, the real aim of science is power. Those who own the data really own the future. We are reaching a point in human history that we have enough biological knowledge and we have enough computing power, and all you need in order to systematically hack millions of people is just the data. That to hack people means to know people better than they know themselves. To somebody in San Francisco, in Beijing, knows you, knows more about you than you know about yourself, about your medical condition, about your mental weaknesses, things that you did 5 years ago, 20 years ago, you completely forgot about them, they know it.
Right.
This is something we never faced before. Not even the KGB could do it.
Right.
And we are already beginning to see the emergence of such total surveillance regimes in places like Xinjiang, in places like in my own home country in Israel. We have this big laboratory of surveillance called the occupied territories, where you have 2.5 million guinea pigs of how to completely survey and control a population with very few soldiers.
He literally just spelled it out right there. In order to hack people so that they can control them, they have to have their data. This is why they're pushing so hard to get us all to hand over our personal data. This is why they're trying to scare everybody in the United States into thinking that they can't get on an airplane anymore unless they go out and get a real ID. It's why they're threatening people with an inability to find employment in the UK. If everyone refuses to sign up for digital ID, if we don't cooperate, then they have no hope of pulling this off. And we all know that there's a large portion of the population that's just going to blindly follow whatever directive the government gives them. But those aren't the people whose information they're worried about. They need the information of people like us, the people who are paying attention to what's going on. Those are the people they want control over. They already have control over the people that buy their narratives. But if we all just resist, their plan falls flat. No matter what, we have to refuse to comply with this.
I did not believe that the government would use me in that way. I had devoted my whole life to government service. I had been in the Air Force, I was in the Navy, I was a river patrol boat captain in Vietnam. I had proved myself, combat ribbons with the V for Valor. There was no doubt of my loyalty to my country. And maybe that's why it was so easy to use me, because I wouldn't doubt that what I saw was real. But over the years, I've done a lot of research. What I've discovered is there's no proof existing anywhere that extraterrestrials are real, or that have ever visited, or that they exist anywhere in the universe. There is not one shred of evidence anywhere. There is lots of evidence, tons of it in fact, that there are a group of people collectively known as the Illuminati who want us to believe in some extraterrestrial threat from space so that they can cause a world government, bringing together of all the people to resist that external threat. And the first time that I saw any reference to that, I was reading some papers from the Carnegie Endowment Fund, and there was a record of a speech. It was a dinner for Viscount Nishiki of the Japanese delegation, the Japanese imperial delegation, in 1917. And John Dewey was one of the speakers. And the first sentence out of his mouth, as I was reading this, almost fell out of my chair, because this was in 1917. And he said, the best way to cause all people of the world to come together in one world government and end war forever would be if we were attacked by some other species from some other planet. And boy, that just clicked with me, and I knew that this is just another scam. This is the age of deception. There's no doubt about it. And then 8 times during Reagan's administration, he inserted almost the exact same phrase into 8 of his speeches. It's a scam. That's what I can tell you. What they call UFOs, these craft that fly around the sky, are real, but they're not piloted by some little green guy from some other planet. They're owned and operated by the United States of America for one, the Soviet Union for another, probably Great Britain, Canada. I think the first really operable ones were probably manufactured in Western Canada, in the wilderness, in a place especially built to create those machines, like we created the Manhattan Project. And the same kind of secrecy surrounded it. So the technology is real. It's been kept secret, and it's been used to promote this concept that there's an alien threat to this earth. The cattle mutilations I've discovered in my research are nothing more than what's left after the government does its secret tests on the low-level radiation leakage from its atomic weapons assembly plants and atomic power plants. It's a low-level radiation monitoring project. And if you look at what's missing on the cattle, you'll see that it's just as clear as day. They take the lips, they take the tongue, they take a 6-inch patch of skin, they core out the rectum, the colon area, where those kinds of things would collect. They pass through the digestive system. Female cows, they take the udder to check for low-level radiation in the milk. And these are all grazing animals that graze on the grass where the radiation falls when it falls from the air. It's just an incredible deception, and I'm just amazed that people have fallen for it in the manner that they have in the absence of any proof whatsoever. I mean, they cite hearsay as proof.
Well, what about all alien abductions?
They're not abductions. They're the results of tremendously successful and very sophisticated mind control operations.
I think that's the best and most logical explanation I've ever heard in regards to cattle mutilation. Clearly, whoever's doing that is doing it for a purpose. They're very methodical in the way they do it. They always seem to have the same body parts missing, and all the descriptions you hear from these farmers are so in line with each other, it's almost like they're all describing the same incident. But I've always wondered what that was about. Like, why would aliens be mutilating cows for no reason? Clearly it's to conduct some form of research. But there's never even been a good theory that I've heard proposed before. But then look at how the government always conducts experiments on different animal species before they move on to a human test subject. If you kill a cow, it's just going to turn a few heads in the Sunday newspaper. But you can't leave a bunch of dismembered people laying around in a field, or it's going to become nationwide news. But the data they're going to collect from those animals is going to give them a pretty good idea of what they could expect to happen to a human from whatever it is that they're doing. It makes perfect sense.
And joining us now for more is Harvard astrophysicist Dr. Avi Loeb. It's great to have you back, Dr. Loeb. So at this point, there's worldwide interest in this thing, and NASA still hasn't released the photos. How is that possible?
Well, either NASA is not functional, or there is a reason for that. And it's really unfortunate, because that should have been the sharpest image we've got of this object with a pixel resolution of 30 kilometers. It was taken on October 2nd, 2025, and here we are, haven't seen it yet. the best picture we have so far is from the Hubble Space Telescope, 3 times worse in resolution. And what we noticed from the Hubble Space Telescope is there is a glow extending from the object towards the sun. This was confirmed in an image that was released just yesterday from a ground-based telescope. And it's very puzzling because this extension of the object towards the sun is 10 times longer than it is wide.
It's not like nobody is working at NASA because the government has been shut down for the past couple of weeks. So I'm sorry, I don't buy it. Do you think it's suspicious that NASA hasn't made an effort to put these photos out there?
It's strange because the principal investigator of this camera called HiRISE on board the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is not affiliated with NASA. He is at the University of Arizona, and obviously they can still analyze the data and release it scientifically. There is no need for a press release. The European Space Agency already released their data, which was much worse quality, because, you know, that's the way things are in science. You make the data available to other scientists so they can look into it.
Okay, so ESA, what you're saying, ESA, the European Space Agency, they released the images that we're now showing you, but NASA has not, and NASA's got their hands on the best imagery of whatever this thing is. So, Dr. Loeb, you get the conspiracy theory that's now developing. If this thing is a comet, maybe NASA, or if this thing is an alien spacecraft, maybe NASA is deliberately covering that up by not releasing those photos. You see that, right?
Well, that's one possibility. It's also possible they are not competent or they don't want to do the work while they are in shutdown. I'm not sure what the actual reason is, but, you know, we should be guided by data, and I very much look forward to them releasing it so we can analyze it, because the previous data was already very anomalous. There are 8 anomalies of this object that we cannot fully understand, and, you know, if it happens not to be a comet but something else, we should know about it. The White House should know about it.
Yeah, we should all know about it. Has the White House been briefed to your knowledge?
Not that I know of, but I did brief the Congress people, and I really hope that President Trump knows everything there is to know about this object.
And just quickly, if it does swing around the sun and starts heading toward Earth, that will confirm that this is intelligent life and intelligently controlled. What do we do then?
We don't have a protocol, and there should be some kind of an organization that looks into interstellar objects of this type, because you know, it's a threat to the future of humanity. It could be a black swan event with a low probability but huge implications, and so far such a threat was not attended to, politically speaking. And I do believe that we should examine all the facts and decide without any assumptions about the nature of this object.
Yeah, and this thing could land on Earth in early 2026. Is that accurate, if it wanted to?
It could, yeah. It could do a maneuver when it's closest to the sun. It could release probes that will visit us. And it's just like some visitor in our backyard that could enter through the front door, and you want to figure out what the intent is. And it's just a matter of curiosity, but also concern about the future of humanity. So I really hope that we will change the way we deal with such interstellar objects in the future.
All right, Dr. Avi Loeb, thanks so much for coming back. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
I love how he pointed out that NASA may just not be competent, but it appears to me that there's a worldwide concerted effort to keep us in the dark here, not just in the United States, but from basically every nation. Even nations that don't align with us seem to be on board with keeping things on a need-to-know basis. We haven't gotten any information from China. India supposedly has the ability to land on the moon, according to that 8-bit video game-looking footage they tried to pass off as a moon landing not too long ago. Why haven't we gotten anything from them? I can't help but to assume that all of these nations are in it together, that they're all collectively keeping the citizens of the world from knowing what's taking place here. And the only other thing in all of history that we've seen every single nation come to agreement on is that regular citizens cannot go explore Antarctica. Now, we see what's potentially the first sign of contact from a being outside of our solar system, and they're all aligning again. I can't help but to suspect that there may be a connection there. I'm just saying, I doubt there are 2 secrets that all the governments have agreed the world doesn't need to know about it.
Well, you know, you're the first astronaut to do that. We asked 6 other astronauts to swear on the Bible, and they refused to do it.
Well, I don't particularly like to take oaths like that either, because I don't accept the Bible as a gospel of anything except a historical record. But we did go to the moon. You bet your sweet ass we went to the moon. Okay, turn off the camera. Your interview is done. I've given you all the time I'm going to give you.
Okie dokie. Good to meet you.
I don't say it's a pleasure.
Understand.
Please get your ass out of my house.
Okay.
And you came here under false pretenses, and I think you're an asshole.
Well,
and if you continue this, and if you press this, I will personally take you to court.
I hope that you do. I invite you to. I'm going to give you my card so you can arrange that. And I'm encouraging you to arrange.
You're frankly not worth it.
No, we have you on the record saying you'll take me to court. I hope you do. Because we have proof that would prove it in a court of law that Apollo 11 didn't go to the moon. And I think it's something that you should see. I don't say that lightly, believe me. I don't say it lightly.
You have joking, sir. People can have fun. And maybe do that if they feel like they want to have a little fun on a trip to the moon. And as an independent producer,
okay, we're heading out.
Doing that is against moral ethics.
Lying about going to the moon is a satanic lie of gigantic proportions.
I don't hit people, but you're going to be on the deck unless you get...
I'm heading out. I appreciate it.
And get the hell out of my house. You ever get a gun and shoot them at them before they get out of the office?
We have a video camera running if you want to do it.
Right.
That would be great footage for us. See you later. In court, I hope.
You want to call the CIA? Have them whacked.
I know we've had some form of this video on here before, it was probably over a year ago, but I came across this again and I noticed something that I didn't notice before. Now that I have a fresh perspective and I've finally come to a conclusion on exactly what it is that I think they're trying to hide from us with all this fake space exploration, if you go back and watch that again, you'll see that he says he doesn't accept the Bible as gospel of anything except the historical record. Think about that for a minute. So he's saying he doesn't accept the gospel. He's not a follower of Jesus, but at the same time, he does believe that the Bible is an accurate depiction of our historical record. That's pretty telling right there. Everything that I've seen indicates to me that there are no aliens, only fallen angels. And we can't leave this earth, so there is no such thing as space exploration. Everything seems to point toward them getting our attention and our focus off of our Creator and all of our focus directed toward mankind and mankind's achievements. If this guy was in on NASA's big lie, then at the very least, he was up high enough in the sky to look down and see that the earth is not what they're telling us it is. You wouldn't be able to look down at the earth and see it looking exactly how it's depicted in Scripture, which is very different from what NASA tells us, and then not at the very least believe that God is real. That doesn't mean that you would choose to be a follower, but belief would be unavoidable. Having not been a believer myself the first time I came across this footage, I completely missed that the first time I saw it. But I feel like that's a really big clue to the purpose for all this deception.
Okay, so this is footage of the 1986 disaster that literally shook the world. The rocket launch that was supposed to prove how far humanity had actually come, and instead it showed how fragile we really are. Millions of people watched live as this shuttle lifted off bright and proud, and 73 seconds later the unthinkable happened. Fire in the sky, 7 souls gone in an instant. The whole world was watching this event. It literally shook the whole world. And what if I told you that this was actually faked? And everyone who was on board this spacecraft has been found to be alive and even proven in court. Check out this next clip.
Good morning, commissioners. Today I come here asking for your help, but first a little backstory. I think we all remember the Challenger explosion that took place in 1986 that tragically took the lives of all 7 astronauts on board. It launched not too far from where we're standing here today. Well, the interesting thing is, a couple decades later, this thing called the internet came about, and someone allegedly found almost all of those astronauts alive and well, many using the same exact names. As you can see here, we have Challenger astronaut Judith Resnick, and also a Judith Resnick Yale law professor. Michael J. Smith, the pilot of the Challenger astronaut, and also professor at University of Wisconsin, now retired Michael J. Smith. Commander Dick Scobie, who is now president of Cows and Trees. Now, if you'll notice, they all have the exact same faces 30 some odd years later, the same exact name, and they are the same age. Now, we all have a doppelganger out there, right? No big deal. But to have the same face, the same age, and the same exact name is extremely rare. So rare, I could only find one case in the last 120 years. And we're supposed to believe that 3 people from one spaceflight have exact lookalikes that have the same age and same exact names. This, ladies and gentlemen, is beyond statistically impossible. Ms. Resnick was questioned at Yale by a journalist, and she panicked and ran from the camera. Why? Mr. Michael J. Smith was also questioned, and he said, yeah, we look alike, but that's not me.
Trust me when I say every single one of the people that were apparently dead in this disaster have been found alive under the same name with the same facial features. We are being lied to on a mass scale. The chances of finding 6 out of the 7 people that apparently died still alive is over 16 trillion to 1. Near impossible, but it's happened. The quicker that we realize that the world is a stage and they do things like this to breed fear within humanity, because the more feared we are, the more controlled we are. But obviously, for the censour reasons, this was just for entertainment, and I'm as fictional as these disasters, baby.
If you think about it, why would they need to pull off a stunt like this? At the time of this Challenger disaster, it had been over 10 years since they had attempted to send a man to the moon. The public was probably wondering what the holdup was. After a feat like that, I can only imagine that most people expected things to escalate quicker in the area of space exploration. But then things stalled and people started questioning things. The best way to steer the conversation back in the direction you wanted it to go in would be to simply create some event that gave everyone good reason for expecting you to actually slow down and be more cautious. And I think putting that teacher on board was just added assurance that they would have more eyes on the launch. And they were airing the launch live from classrooms all over the country. They literally traumatized an entire generation with that footage. There would have been nothing more they could have done to ensure that the next generation was understanding of them pumping the brakes on space exploration. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to drop your theories and your comments in the comments section down below. But guys and gals, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.